don't you feel rocket? Feel, touch, pay, deal, rocket. Feel, touch, pay, it is a deal, rocket. Why don't you rocket? Feel, why don't you feel, touch, why don't you touch it, pay, it is a deal.
Lick it, why don't you lick it, take, why don't you take, give, why don't you give it, stop, don't make mistake. Lick it, why don't you lick it, take, why don't you take, give, why don't you give it, stop, don't make mistake.
Rocket, why don't you rocket? Feel, why don't you feel, touch, why don't you touch it, pay, it is a deal.
Lick it, why don't you lick it, take, why don't you take, give, why don't you give it, stop, don't make mistake. Stop.
Rocket, feel, touch, pay, deal. Rocket, why don't you rocket? Feel, why don't you feel, touch, why don't you touch it, pay, it is a deal. Rocket, why don't you rocket? Feel, why don't you feel, touch, why don't you touch it, pay.